How's it going, guys? It's the Big Slate Pumpkin, and welcome back to another Versus video. And in today's Versus video, we'll be matching up Mr. Dark from Spirit Halloween 2021 versus Harvester of Souls from Spirit Halloween 2020. Now, first glance, these props may not seem too similar, so you're probably not sure why matching them up, but they are both insane demon props, which they're just amazing, and both of them are incredible in my opinion. And I think they're honestly a really perfect matchup since they're both Hit Techie Toys props, and they're both these awesome demon creatures. So I feel like they are actually pretty good to stack up against each other. Even though they're not as similar as some of the other props I may match up on this show, I think these still would be a great matchup. So I guess without any more hesitation, let's really jump into it. As always, we compare three things: animation, audio/phrases, and overall look. So without any more hesitation, let's get started with overall look for Mr. Dark. Starting us off in the overall look category, we have Mr. Dark. Now, Mr. Dark is not too detailed on his clothes, but I'll talk more about the head in a second. But to start off, he has just one big sheet over him, pretty much, one big black sheet that covers up his whole body, so you don't see the mechanism. And it really kind of has to be like this because of his animation, since obviously he jumps up an insane amount, but I'll talk about that later. And then he has some creepy cloth around his shoulders and his arms. So really there's not too much. It could have been a little bit more detailed, I feel. Maybe they could have done a bit of a different color, but I think black works fine. But now for his head, which is where the real detail's at. His head looks fantastic. So do the hands, but I'll talk about the head first. So his head basically has this very nice texture all over it. All of it's like covered in a very nice sculpt and texture, and the color gray on it just looks really good. It's a very kind of creepy looking face. His eyes look great as well. He kind of resembles the skeletal demon-like thing with these very sharp teeth, which look awesome. And I really do love his light up eyes. The red glow from his eyes is fantastic, and I just really, really love the way it looks. Also, just basically the whole shape of his head, again, it resembles more of like a skeletal look, which I think looks great. And it doesn't look like a skeleton enough where it's just going to be a generic looking skeleton that's jumping up. It has definitely this demonic look to it. The only thing that kind of resembles a skeleton is the shape of it and his little nose, how it's like cut off. But other than that, I think it looks fantastic, and I really, really do love the way his head looks. Very creepy and just kind of mysterious almost. You're not really sure what this creature is. It's definitely some sort of demon, but what it is exactly is kind of unknown. But I just really do love the way his head looks. His hands are great as well, though I wish they could be a little bit bigger, maybe even Crouchy size or 2-scoop size hands, but they're kind of small in my opinion, and it doesn't really, I guess it fits the proportion of the head, but I feel like since his head is so massive, I feel like this hand should have been a little bit bigger, but still they're very nicely detailed, and they definitely look like very sharp claws as well. I really do love the way his hands look. Again, I just wish they were kind of bigger. So overall, I really do love Mr. Dark's appearance. It's simple, but it doesn't need anything else, really. It definitely looks fantastic, in my opinion, and really, it's all it needs to be. So, that's pretty much it for the overall look of Mr. Dark. Let's see how Harvester of Souls compares. Now we have to take a look at Harvester of Souls' overall look. There's so much detail packed into Harvester of Souls, so let's break him down. So we'll start off with the main creature being actually the Harvester himself. So he resembles this kind of vampire-like demon almost, and he has a bunch of scratches and cuts all over his face, which look really great in my opinion. I love the detail on his face there. It's very creepy and menacing, and just overall just very, very cool. The next thing we have to talk about, of course, is the girl herself. I think she has a very disturbing look on her face as she's getting the life sucked out of her, literally, and it just looks very creepy. And also her dress is nicely detailed as well. And the Harvester of Souls cloak and stuff, again, not very detailed, pretty much like Mr. Dark, just a black sheet covering him with a bit of creepy cloth here and there. But also his hands are very nicely detailed as well. They got a bunch of gashes in there too, just like his face. But overall, I think I really, really love the way his face looks. He has this massive mouth, obviously, to suck out the souls with, and just the teeth and just the way it's detailed is so nice. I love the color of it, and I love all the little gashes and cuts he has all over his face, too. Adding a very creepy and disturbing look. Also, the light up eyes on this looks fantastic as well, and also the light of the color for the fog. I feel like it should have been maybe like, I don't know. I think green's a perfect color for it, honestly, but I feel like I would have liked to see a few other colors since it looks like they're burping or vomiting into each other's mouth. So I don't think green was the best color to choose, but I think it kind of resembles like what a soul would look like if it were being sucked out of you. I feel like green would be the proper color for that, or maybe even blue. I don't even know. But I really do love all the lighting here as well. The effect looks perfect when it's in use. But overall, I really love the way both these props look, but the point for overall look will have to go to Harvester of Souls. There's just a lot more detail going on here. Even though I feel like Mr. Dark really doesn't need much more detail, I just think Harvester of Souls looks cooler, to be honest, and he just has an overall better look to him. So the point for overall look will go to Harvester of Souls. Now it's time to take a look at their animation. Starting us with animation, we have Harvester of Souls. Now, Harvester of Souls lifts the girl up as she tilts her head up, and obviously they have that fog blowing into each other's mouths, basically simulating that the Harvester is sucking out her soul. But I won't be counting really the fog elements here as a part of his animation. I'll only be counting the lifting and raising of the head. And for that, I say it's pretty perfect. Now, there aren't many props that use this. I'm pretty sure this is the only prop that actually uses this module because it's the only prop that really needs to. And I just think it's very fluid and nice overall. The lifting looks very realistic, and the head tilting also to angle it properly looks great. They could have easily just had him raise her up and she wouldn't even have to lift her head, but her lifting her head honestly adds so much more to the animation here. I think it looks fantastic. Overall, I think his animation is simple, but it's all it needs to be for the prop to work, and I think it is fantastic when it's actually in motion. I think it's great. It really does not need anything else. It's just perfect. I think mouth animation would have been awesome on this guy, but obviously that's pretty much impossible considering that they have to fit that big fan in there, and having mouth animation really would have just jacked up the price so much and probably made it hella faulty and just very complicated overall. So it doesn't need it, but I think mouth animation would be sick personally, but of course that's pretty much impossible. But overall, I think it is incredible, the animation here. Even though it's simple, it's really all it needs to be. I just think it's really good overall, and just, yeah, it's really all it needs to be. It's nothing exceptional, but again, it's really all it needs to be. I'm saying that so many times, but it really is. That's the thing with a lot of props with simple animation. They don't really need anything else. So, with that, let's take a look at Mr. Dark's animation now. Now for Mr. Dark's animation, and oh boy, is it frigging incredible. I love his animation so much. It is the best jump scare of all time, and the main allure to this prop, and probably the reason why you bought him, was because of his incredible jump scare. Now, this is the best jump scare of all time, as I mentioned before. I think it has so much potential to be so scary and freak out so many people. The way it can jump up that high and that fast is crazy for only $250, and $200 if you use a coupon. So it's just really incredible to see this fantastic professional animation on a consumer grade prop. Now, of course, the quality in the gears and motors and stuff is not the best, but I'm really not judging it on that. But just for the most part, his animation is so incredible. Even though it takes a pretty long time for him to recover or get back down, I can excuse that because of how awesome the jump scare is. I think he is frigging incredible and easily the best jump scare prop of all time. So I bet most of you know where I'm going with this, but the point for animation easily, hands down, goes to Mr. Dark. His animation is so incredible, and I love it so much. He jumps up from 4.5 feet to 9.5, or around 8.5 feet, pretty much 9 feet, in only 2 seconds, if not less, which is insane. So that's why the point for animation is absolutely, hands down, going to Mr. Dark. Now, that's not it yet. We have one more category to take a look at, which is their audio and phrases. So, I guess without any more hesitation, let's take a listen.
The Reaper comes in dark of night.
What you just listened to right there was Mr. Dark's audio, and I love it so much. So let me tell you why I love it. First of all, the jump scare sound with the scream in the beginning is amazing and is sure to get so many people with his awesome jump scare combined. That loud noise and the jump scare all come together to make one massive jump scare, which is fantastic. Also, his phrase, "The Reaper comes in dark of night," is incredible, and it sounds so menacing and scary. I absolutely love it. And when he's resetting, he has that menacing laugh, and I just think it sounds so awesome. And also, all those little sound effects thrown in sound incredible as well. Overall, everything in his phrase just comes together so well to make one awesome jump scare and just a very cool sounding prop overall, and just extremely scary and menacing. overall, I think his phrases are incredible. He only has one, but I mean, it works since it's a jump scare prop. But with all that said, Mr. Dark has some pretty great audio, but let's take a listen to Harvester of Souls to see how he compares.
Look at me, just as all the others have. Now that I have you, your soul will be mine forever!
So what you just listened to right there was Harvester of Souls audio, and oh my god, is this one of the most badass audio tracks we have ever had on a prop. First of all, he only says one phrase, which is really my only downside with his audio. Like, it's kind of lame that he only says one phrase, but this one phrase is incredible. Just his voice and just the way he sounds is so goddamn menacing and scary. It's crazy how well they pulled off the audio for this guy. It easily could have been completely ruined by its audio, but they managed to pull it off so perfectly here, so I am not complaining. I absolutely love his booming voice. I love the intenseness of the scene going on here. And like the sound effects for the soul sucking sound perfect, and just everything comes together to make one awesome sounding prop. Just that one phrase alone, even though he says one thing, the writing for it is great. Even though it's pretty simple, I still think it is incredible, and it definitely is one of the most scary and most menacing sounding props we have seen to date. And I just frigging love the audio so much on this guy. There's just so much great about it, and how it compares to Mr. Dark now, to see who gets the final point. And I have to say, even though both of them have incredible booming sounding voices, and just overall both of them sound very scary and intimidating, the point here will have to go to Harvester of Souls. Now, I think he has probably one of the best audio tracks, if not the best audio track ever put on a prop ever, in my opinion. It sounds so badass, so scary, and I love it so much. So, the final point for audio/phrases goes to Harvester of Souls. Even though I definitely think he could use one or two more phrases, the one he has now is so perfect in my opinion. There's really nothing that comes close to it. So he definitely earned the point for audio/phrases. So that's pretty much it for all the points. Now let's see who won. And the winner of this versus video matchup is Harvester of Souls. Now, this is a very rare occurrence for versus videos because it is sometimes, this has only happened once before, the prop I like less has actually came out on top. Just because of these three categories I break down, which I feel like are the three essential things of every prop. Sometimes one prop just comes out on top because they have two things that's better, even though sometimes, like for animation, for Mr. Dark, I feel like that carries most of the prop, and I really would honestly give him 5 points, but I'm not going to do that to be fair, since really he has my favorite animation out of any prop, and I do like Mr. Dark better than Harvester of Souls. I still think they are both incredible props, and easily come in my top 10 of all time, but Harvester of Souls definitely comes closer in those two categories between audio and overall look. I feel like it's just done better, and overall, I still love Mr. Dark better, but Harvester of Souls has won this versus video matchup. Let me know which one is your favorite in the comments below. I would love to hear from you guys, and also be sure to like and subscribe as always. Also, check out my merch and my Instagram in the description below. And with all that, everybody, thank you so much for watching, and as always, this is the Pixelated Pumpkin, signing out.